We've added more granular capability for page layout typography. Previously, you were able to control the header text and the footer text independently. You can still do that, but with this new update, you can now control the font weight, italic, and the transformation of every individual element so you can have multiple styles in either the header or the footer at the same time. In order to use the feature, just drag the page element into the spot that you want it to, like before. And when you hover over it, you'll now see a new icon on the top left. When you click that, you can enable custom style. And from here, you can override the global defaults. We've also updated the custom element type. Now, when you click on these, every token that you use turns into a gray box. And if you click on that, it has the same styling configuration. So within one page element, you can have multiple styles. We've also improved the quality of life. If you now drag one element over another element, instead of deleting it like it did before, it'll swap them. The global chapter heading images and each individual section heading image now has a new positioning option, which is side by side. You'll see a toggle switch called side by side under the position and spacing tab. When you toggle this on, you'll see two new options appear, image side and B side. Image side lets you place the image on the left or the right hand side of the title, and beside lets you choose whether you want it on the left side or right side of only the title or the title and subtitle as a group. The title positioning is pretty self-explanatory, but there is something that is important to understand. Because the image itself does not have an alignment feature, it will automatically align itself wherever the section title is. As you can see in this example, if I align it left, the image will follow it, and align it right, the image will follow it. When you use title and subtitle, the section subtitle will also dictate how it's going to look. If the title and the subtitle are using the same alignment, then the image will stick right next to it as a group. If you use different alignments for the title and subtitle, the image will get pushed all the way to the right or all the way to the left because there's no way to create a cohesive group. Because of this, we suggest the title and subtitle to always use the same alignment. And if you want to create spacing between the title and subtitle and the image, underneath the heading image and position and spacing, there is a spacing around image option. If you expand it, you can see left and right spacing is now an option. We've now added two new options to the paragraph menu. You'll see first line indent and left indent. Essentially what these two do is it allows you to create hanging indents. So to create and hang an indent, you would move the left indent over something like 20 pixels, and then the first line indent, you would do negative 20 pixels. This is a pattern that you would use in something like InDesign, and it translates to both ebooks and print seamlessly. We've also added a section-wide left indent. This is probably a feature that's going to be more enticing to nonfiction authors, but it can give you some really interesting effects. The default is set to 0, which means it will have no effect on any of your elements. Once you set a value here, one thing to take note of is the settings icon to the right. By default, every single element within your book is selected. If you want to offset everything to the right except for something like your subheadings, you would come into this option and just deselect the subheadings only, and this will give you that effect of having a margin on the left-hand side. There are two new container options that you can use, which are grids and columns. Grids are going to work on both ebook and print, and columns are primarily used for print. The difference between the two is that grids are essentially one row tables. Each cell in the grid is rendered independently. So if you want to have multiple cells that are the same length, you would need to make sure that the content within them are the same length. Columns, on the other hand, You can set how many columns you want to render, but inside of the editor, you only have one block of content, and the column will systematically fill in each column as it goes. And if it doesn't have enough space on one page, it'll start a new page and continue the process. The main use case for this is building indexes, and we're working on an indexer right now. So this is just the first step that we needed to take in order to get to the indexer so that you can have correct data flow. We've now made creating text conversations way easier. If you use the format shown here, which is name, colon, space, and then the message, the system will now auto-parse the conversation. If you select all the messages and then click the text conversation button, when you have this format, you'll now see a new dialog to auto-create name bubbles for you. You can have as many different people as you want in this, and the system will automatically parse them and show them to you here. The nice part about this is that you can then select which names are the receivers and which one is the sender, and it'll automatically create the naming bubbles and assign them to the position for you. The other improvement that we did is we added hotkeys for assigning the message to the receiver or the sender and creating a character name. So if you want to create a character name, you hold Control, Alt, and up. And if you want to go to the sender side, Control, Alt, and right. And to the receiver is Control, Alt, and left.